This is Bob Rourke with Business Leaders Podcast, and today we're remote in the north end of Colorado Springs. We're with the CEO of 360 Sports, Craig Domann. Craig, thanks for taking time out of your afternoon.
I appreciate it, Bob.
Tell me a little bit about what you do in 360 Sports and who you serve.
What we do is we represent NFL players when they come out of college, and we're basically career counselors, negotiators. We wear lots of hats, and we help them through their journey through the NFL. And at some point in time, the game of football is going to leave them behind. And at that point in time, we want them to be in a position where they're financially stable, they have sound mind and body, and they've got opportunities after football.
You know, for you, a lot of folks, the whole agent world, I think there's many misunderstandings about what you guys do. I suspect the Jerry Maguire movie had a great deal to do with that.
Absolutely.
So let's walk back a ways. And how did you get involved, or what did you do before you became an NFL agent?
Well, first, you got to look at the fact that I love sports. I love competition. I played college football, and when I got out of college and was in accounting and tax accounting, I was bored out of my mind, and so I went to law school to pursue something in sports. And so I found my way into the athlete representation business back in 1990, and it gives me an opportunity to mentor young men, coach them. I love coaching, and you are the ultimate coach when you're an agent.
It's funny, as I think about, in my impression, and I'm woefully ignorant, is that, you have a notion of what an agent does. And, the coaching aspect, now that you say it, makes incredible sense. Because they have the coaching on their sports side, but you're a life coach for them.
Absolutely. And I think the person that, besides the players that have fathers, the person they respect the most is typically a coach. And the vernacular, the nomenclature, everything that goes along with the player-coach relationship is the one that they hold the highest.
So let's talk about the typical things that are processed for an NFL prospect from college coming up to what's important to them to get into the NFL.
That's a great question, because there's a lot of myths involved in what it really takes to be an NFL player. And when guys come out of college, you have to look at where they started. These guys were talented athletes, probably multi-sport athletes from when they were knee-high. They were probably the best player in their middle school, certainly the best players in their high schools. And then they come to play college football, and then they learn that it's a business. And that's a big separator for players, because there's 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, but not all of them rise to the top. And the ones that are NFL prospects are the guys that have survived all that screening up to that point. And so this is the time in their life where they really want to cash in. They want to capitalize on the opportunity they have to get paid for something that they've been playing for free their whole life. And I think that when you're sitting down with a young man or his family, and they're just at the brink of becoming an NFL player, they want to make the right decisions, the right choices. They want to be with the right people.
So for the kids that are listening to this, and I say kids, collegiate athletes that are the NFL prospects, when should they start thinking about what they need to be doing that will make them different, or make them stand out, or distinguish their chances or increase their chances to be in the NFL?
I think the best way to make a case for yourself in the NFL is to be an awesome college football player. Understand that you've got to be able to connect with your coaches. You've got to know your playbook inside and out. Ultimately, on Saturday afternoons, you have to perform and be one of the elite players. And between Sunday and Friday, you've got to go to class. You've got to take care of your studies. You got to take care of your body. You got to take care of your sleep, and you got to find a time for your girlfriend. You got to find time to have some fun too. But it's really a balancing act for these guys. And if they can learn to balance the demands that they have in college, and then perform like a madman on Saturday afternoons, the NFL is going to be there.
What are the 3 or 4 things that you would explain to them in detail that would give them the opportunity or increase their opportunity?
So for a high school kid, I think the biggest thing is that they have to maximize their physical abilities, and they need to listen to their coaches, and not go on their own private plan. The coaches have their best interests in mind, and so young men in college don't look like young men in high school. So there's a tremendous amount of physical development, and a lot of that is done in the weight room. So if a young man in high school really attacks the weight room, that's going to help him. If he's a skill position player, he's going to want to run track. He's going to want to do multiple sports. The best way to get it, to be excellent at football is also to be excellent at other sports. More multi-sport athletes are successful in college than single sport athletes.
Huh. Is there a preferred, other sport that these guys play that increase their opportunity to be in the NFL?
I don't think so. I think, basketball, soccer, some of the movement sports are more important than golf. And I love golf, but it's not going to help you be an NFL player. And so I think, when you play multiple sports, your body gets used to going in lots of different directions, a lot of different movement patterns, and you're less likely to and less susceptible to injury if you are a multi-sport athlete.
And we talked a little bit before the episode about mindset, and you touched on the mindset of being a rookie and reinventing yourself. When you look across your career of the various players, what were the top one or two distinguishing characteristics that propelled some of these guys into the league? Is it mindset mostly and physical ability, or is there more to it than that?
All of them have physical ability. There are a few that have elite physical ability, but the distinguishing factor is always the mindset and belief. And what I find is that you can't accomplish what you don't believe you can accomplish. And if you don't have the mindset to do the right things, to put yourself in a position to be successful, you won't. And so what I find is that in the NFL, regardless of a young man's drafted in the first round, second round, fifth round, no round, if he is committed to becoming a starter, if he's committed to becoming a contributor as a rookie, he has to have a different mindset. He also has to have a different belief.
So at some point, there's a reach out by you or by the athlete to you at some stage of their collegiate career. And how does that process work? Let's say that you're a freshman or sophomore, and I don't know when the NFL starts to look at the prospects, but what's the proper steps for somebody that's an NFL prospect? What should they expect from their years in college, and how do they select an agent?
Okay, those are a couple different questions. Let's go first with, how do you even put yourself in a position to be an NFL prospect? And that is doing what your coaches tell you to do, being excellent. The NFL's not for everybody. You have to be a superstar at your college to have an opportunity to play in the NFL. So it's doing all the right things to put yourself in a position so on Saturday afternoons, you're the guy. You're making plays. You're the leader. You're the guy that everybody looks to in tough situations. And that takes time. Some guys are very fortunate. They step right in as freshmen, and they're superstars from the jump. But for most guys, it takes time, especially big guys. It takes longer. Once they put themselves in a position to be marketable, be attractive to NFL teams, they can't go to the NFL and can't be drafted until they've completed 3 years. They're 3 years removed from high school.
You've worked with so many NFL players, and if you were to offer advice to an NFL prospect, here are the key things that you must consider before selecting an agent. I'm sure you have key advice. What would that be?
No, if you had a son and you asked me, what criteria you should use to assist your son in picking an agent, certainly integrity, experience, everybody has different levels of interest in clients. Everybody's going to say that you're going to be a priority, but you have to see through that and find out if you're really going to be a priority.
Well, I sincerely appreciate you taking time out of your afternoon to be on the show.
Thank you very much, Bob. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.